Hey, glad you made it back. Today, we've got a flooring veteran showing you how to install hardwood floors without losing your mind. It's easier than you think, so let's turn you into a pro.
Hardwood is an attractive, timeless variety of flooring that increases a space's value and beauty. Engineered hardwood offers the classic hardwood appearance along with an easy click-lock installation method. Engineered hardwood is a great choice of flooring. You can install it safely and seamlessly on your own. There are 4 basic types of installation: nail down, staple down, glue down, and floating click lock. The type of installation you choose will depend on your budget, lifestyle needs, and the type of hardwood flooring you want to use. This guide covers the steps for installing click lock engineered hardwood flooring, a popular and versatile choice. First, let's talk about the tools you'll need and the prep work to complete before you start the installation process. Start by gathering all the necessary tools and materials. You'll need a jam saw, table or panel saw, floor installation kit, rubber mallet, tape measure, and a pencil. Make sure the floor installation kit includes spacers and a tapping block. They're essential for leaving proper expansion gaps and for tapping your new flooring into place without damaging it. You'll also need the flooring itself, a vapor shield to lay underneath it, flooring nails, and duct tape or silver underlayment tape. To reinstall your baseboard and molding after installation, you'll need finishing nails, caulk, and a nail gun. First, let the hardwood acclimate to the room for 5 days prior to installation. Keep the room to a temperature of 65 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit and to humidity levels of 30 to 55%. When you're ready to begin installing, make sure you put on proper safety gear. The best safety gear for this job includes safety goggles, work gloves, and knee pads. Step 1. Preparing your subfloor. Engineered hardwood is ready to install if the base floor is clean and smooth. Remove the existing flooring and check for a completely flat subfloor with your level. If you have a concrete subfloor, fix any chips or dips with a patching compound. For wood subfloors, remove protruding nails, patch cracks, sand down humps, and replace any damaged boards. Next, lay down a 15 to 30 pound asphalt saturated felt or silicone vapor shield. This step is critical for keeping your floor safe from dampness. Lastly, spread the boards from several cases across the room in the order you'll install them. To decide on what direction the board should be installed in, consider starting with the longest, straightest wall and placing boards perpendicular to the floor joists. Step 2. Measuring your flooring for installation. You'll need to cut your boards to fit your room, which means you need to do some measuring. You'll start by measuring the width of the room. That is, the measurement that runs perpendicular to how you want your boards aligned. You need to allow a gap for your flooring to expand, so subtract 3/4 of an inch from your measurement. Write that number down. To determine how many rows of flooring you'll need, divide your measurement by the width of one of your boards. Write that number down too. This is the number of rows you'll be installing. For most rooms, this won't divide perfectly, so you need to do a little bit more math to find out where to cut the last boards. You can figure out the width of the last row by calculating the width of all the other rows and subtracting that from the initial room measurement. To do that, take the number of rows you calculated a minute ago and round it down to a whole number. Multiply that number by the width of a single board and you'll get the width of the area highlighted on your screen. Subtract that number from the measurements you took of the room and you'll get the width of your last row. Remember one final thing during this step. If your last row is going to be less than 3.5 inches wide, you should trim board width from both sides of the room. That will keep any one row from being too narrow. To get the right measurements for those first and last rows, just add the width of your last row to the width of a full board and divide the result by 2. This calculation will give you the width for both your first row and your last row and keeps your floor looking even. Step 3. Preparing doorways for installation. It's much easier to cut the trim around your doorways than it is to cut the flooring to match the door's irregular shape. Once you cut the door frame, the flooring will just slip under it, leaving a more finished look in the end. To make this kind of cut on your door frame, first stack a board on top of a section of the vapor shield and lay them next to the door's molding. Trace a guiding line along the surface of the molding with a pencil to show you where the cut should be. Use a jam saw to make the cut and remove the excess wood. Step 4. Laying the first row of engineered hardwood. To start the first row of flooring, line the board up parallel to your starting wall, leaving an expansion gap at all walls. Drive flooring nails through the boards. Install the second board next to the first by placing the upper drop lock end of the second board on the lower drop lock end of the first board. The ends will not click lock on this first row. Nail this board down as well. Continue placing and nailing boards down in this manner to complete the row. To allow for the expansion of the flooring over time, remember to place half-inch spacers along the wall as you go. When you approach the end of the first row, cut the final board to the perfect length. Remember to leave an expansion gap at the end of this board as well. Before cutting any of the boards, check the cutting instructions for your particular flooring product. Try to cut with the finished side up and use duct tape to mark the board more easily and reduce splintering. You often don't need a special saw to cut engineered hardwood. You can cut the boards using a table saw, miter saw, or panel saw. Step 5, the second row and beyond. When you start the second row, you need to start with a shorter or longer board than you did with the first row. This will stagger the seams, resulting in a beautiful, natural look, giving the floor stability. For all rows after the first, you don't need to nail boards down. The boards will simply float over your vapor shield. To start installing the second row, hold the board with the tongue facing the previous row. Keep it at about a 30-degree angle. Feed the tongue into the groove of the first row, making sure the tongue is snugly and securely engaged by pushing the boards together. Maintain the pressure while pressing the board flat to lock the edge joints. Be prepared to wiggle it around. You need to position it for a smooth, tight snap with no gaps. Use a tapping block and rubber mallet to knock the board into place or eliminate any gaps in the joints. Continue installing rows in the same way until the room is complete. Step 6, the finishing touches. Once the engineered hardwood has been installed, remove the spacers and install a matching threshold, baseboard, and quarter-round molding to the walls using finishing nails. Caulk the edges of the baseboard and molding to give everything a smooth, finished look.